Hello, my name is Daniel Afolayan, popularly known as Honorable Councillor Dan. So, in this video, I'll be sharing with you a story of my life, and that is going to be a part, not the full story, but a chunk part of my life. I feel 1 or 2% can relate with it. So, I grew up from Lagos Island. Definitely, when I say Lagos Island, I'm not saying Lekki, Victoria Island, or that. I mean Lagos Island, the original Lagos Island. If you know the Lagos Island I'm talking about, you should understand that some places like Ekodumota, Kiari, Akogbon, Elegbata, Okikupo, Mandelas, Peti. If you know all these places, this is the environment I grew up from. And if you're a member of these places, send me a high five. But this is where I grew up from. And I want to share with you my desire before 10. Before I was 10 years old, what I plan on doing when I'm older. And I really want to share this with you. Seriously, for you to see the progression and the transformation that has come to play in my life, and for you to know that how environment plays a key important role in the life of a child, in the life of anybody. That is why in counseling, you have to understand that before you could counsel somebody very well, you should know their educational background, their environmental background, and their career path where they want to be. So I grew up in this particular environment, and in this environment there are some parts that are residential, while some parts are commercial. So I think we don't have industrial. No, we don't have industrial in that environment. We only have residential and commercial. So we stay with my family, my mom, my dad, and my siblings. We stay within the commercial environment. It is just less than a minute walk from my mom's store to our house. So, and those places, that I don't know if you know a place called Holloway and Egerton. That's where I grew up from. I went to Boys Academy. That is a secondary school, and my primary school was Waslat Nursery and Primary School. So this environment is practically a Muslim environment generally, and it is filled up of mostly Muslim activities. There are mosques everywhere, Ansaruddin, Nawaruddin, all types of dins. You know what I'm saying? If you are a Muslim listening to me or watching my video. So this my desire when I was before 10, what I was thinking about is that I want to be a great womanizer. I want to be a womanizer when I became when I grow older. So it's a desire that I normally nurse as I grew up in life. When I was small, that once I'm older, has it happened now or not? Don't worry, before the end of this video, you'll be able to decide yourself whether I'm a womanizer or not. But see, I lost that desire because of the environment and the things that I constantly see within that particular environment. It really make, I will not lie, that environment are part of great contributor to what I am today as a counselor, because when I was growing up, I began to observe families, and I began to see, sometimes we will see a family in one room, 3 generations, grandfather, the mother, and the child. That is 3 generations in one room, and I mean in one room. So there is a whole lot that we have seen, and it's not that maybe the father came to visit. No, the 3 generation is practically staying in that room. So and while I was very young, how do I come about it? Because when I go to birthday parties, when I go to when I see my the elders within our within my environment then in Okiari. So when I go to parties, when I go to birthdays, I began to see women. I began to admire some particular set of women. I began to come to that point where I like, one day me too, I will grow older like this man, and I will have access of having a girlfriend and dating some girls and sleeping with them, doing all sorts of things. So because I begins to see that in the people we look up to in the environment. Definitely there are, whatever environment that you lived in, as Africans, we always have people we look up to, and whatever they do as a way of building interest in our hearts towards it. So I began to desire it. I began to, I began to nurse those desires, because sometimes when that was when I was still in primary school. That was way before I was 10. So I began to nurse it, try as much as possible when I was able to toast my mates in school and all these primary school relationship. Should I call it relationship? No, just trying to ask a lady out in your class, calling a lady my wife, this and a whole lot of things. So it wasn't working then. So when I was about going to secondary school, I was thrown out of Lagos completely for my JS1 and JS2. That was when I went to Ushi Ekiti. Anybody from Ekiti? My mom is from Ekiti. That is why she's from Ilawe precisely. So I went to do my secondary school JS1 and JS2 in Federal College, Ushi Ekiti. There are 4 government colleges. Sorry, there are 4, not Federal College, but State College. There are 4 colleges within the state. One is in Oye, another one is in Ushi. So I went there. My sisters are already there. I have my mom, younger sister. She is also there. So this really facilitates my going, and what really encourages the provisions that they carry to school. So when my sister was going, I was crying every day, like, because I want to carry the provisions to school. I don't know, they used to tell me that they suffer a lot in boarding school. I said no, I want to join them. And my mom bought the idea and pushed me along when I finished my primary education. So then it was quite difficult for me to blend. When I was in JS1, JS2 it was difficult. I actually cried to my mom to pull me out. So on returning back to Lagos for my JS3 education, that was when I was enrolled to Boys Academy. Boys Academy was not a male school. It's only the male gender school. So we have Boys Academy, we have Girls Academy at Simpson Street. That Mandelas, very close to Obalinde. So if you know Oli, you know those places, I Court. My life. Yeah. You know all those places. This is where I grew up from. So you should know that I'm a very dogged kind of human being. Because there are many things that we have gone through. There are many things that my eyes have seen. So I enrolled, because it's not a new school. My desire was not, there is no environment to sponsor my desire. So if you want to date a girl, you have to go out of your school to Antioch, to Girls Academy, to Hope High School, to find a lady. These are schools that are within the environment of my school. So on closing hour, you get to meet girls walking in batches to their various homes and the likes. So that is the only places we get. So it's a strenuous desire. It is strenuous exercise. You're trying to date girls from other schools. But if you are in a mixed school, it's more easier. You can find girls within your class, in your lower level, in your lower classes or upper classes. So it was not easy for me. And by the way, that I'm a video game person. So because of the video game, it took a chunk part of me. Immediately after school, my secondary school days, I go out with my friends to play video games till my SS3. Even till when after my graduation from secondary school, it was not funny. I was so addicted to video games. I play bets, I play PS2, PS1, I play bets of different kind, Konami, all these things. I was really into it. I like dance. There was a time when I was in secondary school that I was really, I don't know, I was so addicted to the point whereby I have to leave school to go and play video game at the back of my school. Right at the back of Boys Academy, there were game center that I would remove my school uniform and sit there during break time until I was caught, beaten. I was told to bring my parents. My mommy did not follow me, but one of my sisters from another mother followed me to my school and to plead because I just want to be I want to be expelled from the school at that time. So, but thank God I was not expelled. So I graduated, still not seeing that desire. Within my environment, when they sent you out at night, very dark environment. So you see people in different spots, on people's at people's stores, because the upper part is the residential and for stores, while the ground floor is for shops where you sample your goods. I told you earlier that we were staying in a commercial environment. So this commercial environment that we are staying, it is on the high side for sexual immorality. You will see young girls, young boys in different corners sleeping with each other. You will even see old men and old women that are not married to each other. I grew up in that environment that is very high at infidelity and sexual immorality. There are many things that are normal. It's a normal thing for you to beat your wife. It's a normal thing for your man to cheat. It's a normal thing for another woman to have to carry pregnancy for your man. It's a normal thing for you to experience the hard things about marriage as a woman. Marriage is not really favorable, and most fathers in that environment are not, and most, I'm not saying all. If you are living in that area and your father is responsible, I give kudos to you, seriously. But most fathers that I knew when I was growing up, that I studied in Lagos Island, are not that responsible. It's only few. It is only few. The percentage is low. So, and they are only women. Women do a lot to take the responsibility of the home. They do a whole lot of things. Is my family one of it? Yeah, my dad is not available, so it's my mom that raised me up and sustain our living. So this is, and when you grow in that kind of environment, me and my friend, we try as much as possible to always go out there. But for me, I think when it comes to women, I have taste. I don't like a situation where a woman is completely cheap or is so cheap. So I think this is one of the things that guide me through life. Even with the desire of I want to be a womanizer, I don't like dating two women at the same time. So what I want to do is just to date one at a time. And when I date you, I'm not dating you with the intent of having sex with you, but just to have you as my girlfriend. More importantly, it can now grow to the point where we start having sex. But because I'm not quick to lure women into sexual intercourse, I lose my girlfriend, most of my girlfriends then immediately. I'm not too quick like that too. When I was within my secondary school, that was 2009, 2010, 11, and 12. So I was not that quick. I was really not that quick to engage women in sexual immorality. If I make advances to you and you see you're not doing, no, I will not force you. But there are some of my mates then that they sleep with women every week, virtually every. This was when I was over 10 years younger than I am now. They virtually sleep with girls every week. So I have this kind of thing in me that I don't want to do what other people are doing. If my friend has slept with a girl So what I do is I took it up my responsibility upon myself to go be outside of my environment to look for somebody to date. That was when there was this friend of mine called Kudus. So we have a base where we go to every evening at Adeniji Adele. That was where we tried to check 1 or 2 girls and a lot of date a few girls and all that. So I was practically, even at that point, my desire to be a womanizer is not coming to fulfillment. I was seeing my mate right in the heart, but me, something was really restricting me. So not until when I graduated from secondary school 2009. So 2010, I didn't get an admission into the university. 11, same story. 12, same story. So it becomes a burden in my heart that I began to see my friends, who graduated 2010, gaining an admission immediately, already in 100 level. Some are already finishing MD. Some I'm about to finish secondary school, university career, and I'm still at home. It bothered me so much to the point of there was a day I cried to God. I cried to God. So I sampled for my mom always. So there was a particular goat we used to usually keep there is a house we usually pack our goods. So when I climbed the stairs to the 4th floor, onto the last floor that has a decking. So when I was about to carry the goods downstairs to go sample, I paused a little bit and I cried to God that, Lord, help me. Is this how I will stay and I will not get a university education? I don't want to be like my other mates who don't go to school, who are just sitting down helping their mom to shop with the hope of one day they will have their own. It's more that there are many people who inherit their mom's job, their dad's job, and they are really, really doing well and fine all the way. It's really good when you have that kind of business. At least my mom trained all of us, 5 children, even with some additions from extended families through that shop. So you can make a living from it, but I don't want that kind of life. I want a different life. So it is not really sitting well with me as a young man when I could not get an admission to further my education. So I cried that very morning, and after I cried and I prayed to God, just a simple prayer, and God answered my prayer. After the prayer, somebody came to meet my mom and advised her to allow me to do P degree in FUNAB. So I bought into the idea. I did it, and when I was there at the start, I was still not seeing that desire in me to be a womanizer. So that freedom that P degree gave me was a great one. Oh, it's sweet, my daily. How? Yeah, when you are away from home, you have this freedom to yourself for the very first time, and thank God we did the registration. I was picked. I started the program in Inhod, Mauko. Cheers to Funabite, wherever you are watching this video. So after the whole, after gaining that admission, preparing, I was attending classes. I think I was the class rep of my class. That time I was part of the first set that was picked. So I was a class rep. I would sit in front, take responsibility for the classes and a whole lot of things like that. So it was, girls were coming. When I mean girls were coming, I began to, a whole lot of things. But one thing that struck me most is the fact that at that time, within the first month of my resumption for my P degree science course, so a lot of girls were coming and a whole lot of things from the girls hostel and a whole lot of, so there was always girls around me. Sorry about this, I can't help it. So, but something restricted me. I tried as much as possible to go extra length to ask a few out, asking a lady out and a whole lot of things, and I could not push it further. I could not follow it because I realized and I found out that most of the things we were taught in class, I lack its understanding. So when I lacked that understanding, I began to bother myself that was 98,000 that my mom paid, not my dad. My mom paid this 98,000 for me to have a higher chance of being in in the university. So will I, and many people in my environment have already known that I left for school. And definitely in Nigeria, you don't go to school for 1 year. At least university education. There is no school you can go to for 1 year. So I was bothered. And you know, that was when I joined Living Spring Campus Fellowship because they offer us free Saturday lessons. You know, then it becomes a serious thing for me, because to comprehend what we have been what the teachers or lecturers are teaching us in class. So let me just say, this is just the turning point for my life. This is just the turning point where I decided to, you know, do not run after girls any longer. And at this point, I can boldly say to you that I have never engaged in any sexual intercourse at this point during my degree level. So the desire became abolished because life becomes more important to me than, you know, my academics. I take it as my life, you know. So after that, I try as much as possible also, you know, to put everything I have in my academics. Still yet I'm not understanding a few things. This was 2 months into the program, and you will see young people that are older than 2-3 years old who go to the same class together, and will come back, they understand everything, they will not even read. But me, I will read, still will not understand. And it became a burden in my heart. So, and I began to learn it over again. I began to start from the basis. You know, there was a time it became so obvious that, you know, there's this bracket that they used to say a minus b squared. If you open the bracket, just to open the bracket, that is a plus b into bracket a minus b. Sorry, a minus b into bracket a plus b. I could not open that bracket. It was so horrible for me then, and that was when I took my academics serious. I pushed all other girls that I'm in contact with away, and I began to read. I knew that I have to do more because I know because I've lost everything that I spent, that I learned in my secondary school, and I didn't really learn well because when I was in SS theory, I'll have to leave school to play game. So when my mates when we're being taught one thing or the other, I was not in class. I was busy playing game because I was addicted to video games. So it was at that point I have to, you know, come to myself, think through my life myself, and ask what I want. Am I going to waste my mom's money? I know how it is. I know what it's going to take. I know what it takes her to remove that chunk amount of money and pay for my school degree fee. And it is not only 98,000 she paid. She paid for hostel, she paid for other expenses, and always give me money monthly. So it's really a whole lot. So I began to read, and I understand. When the first semester exam came out, I scored 88 over 60. So 88 over 60 was like a little bit halfway. I doubled up and a whole lot of things. And during that time, I had jam. So I failed jam, and the instruction says the moment you fail jam, you are not going to be given admission. So it was a burden in my heart. These are the things that killed the sexual immorality desire in me, because, you know, it was at that point I've already began to think about my life very well and the chances that surround my life. You know, I began to see that, well, am I not going to be a graduate in my life? I don't want to be an undergraduate. I don't want to go to polytechnic. I'm not. This is my desire. I'm not saying polytechnic. If you are a polytechnic graduate, I celebrate you. My sister is a polytechnic graduate. My younger brother is a polytechnic graduate. But my desire. So after the whole session I passed P3, but I failed JAMB, and because I don't have JAMB, I can't cross over to the main campus, which is Alabata for now. So what do I now? So I went back home. I told my mom to go, that I can't stay around. Let me go and meet my dad and work for him. So while I work with my dad and a whole lot of things, because my dad and mom, they are divorced. So I work with him, help him, and by the way, God help us, they said we should come and do another diploma program, which is you will pay extra additional money, extra additional fees of 150,000, and if you pass, you'll be given admission to into 200 level. So since if you do P3, it's into 100 level, and when you're going into when you do FSP program, which is like a diploma equivalent to diploma, you are going into 200 level. So it makes sense. So I enrolled again for the program, and my mom also paid, and I passed, and I became, so during those times of my my P degree and FSP years, those 2 years, I met God. This is one of the most important things that happened. I really met God, and I come in contact with His voice. I come in contact with His ways, and I fell in love with Him so hard along this journey. And this is how it started. That is when it started. When I gained admission into the university, into 200 level agricultural administration, the desire to become a womanizer has died a literal death. That when I say died a literal death, I'm not even thinking of that anymore. I'm thinking of ways to serve God, ways to please Him. What is my life in His hands? He should show me where He doesn't want me to serve Him, and a lot of things. So that is how it started. That is how it died, a literal death. So I just want you to understand that what in life, we might have desires to be, but when we know better, we will do better. So I get to know that path is a path of destructions. It's a path to destroy my soul. It's a path to destroy my body. It is a path to weaken me as a man. And because if I would have entered that path, I can tell you that I would have been a father for maybe 2 or 3 children and not be a certified graduate. But I bless the Lord for who I am and what I am today. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed my story. God bless you. God keep you. God cause His face to shine upon you. Don't forget, I am an honorable counselor I'm a professional. I have certifications as a counselor. So do well to reach out to me if you have any relationship problems. I will be there. I will be here to help you. And don't forget to click on the subscribe button and like this video. My birthday is December 10, and I just want you to understand that, just watch this video and get the message from me. If you have any comments, just put it in the comment sections. Before 10, I have a desire, and my desire is not to be successful. My desire is not, but as I grow, as I mature, my desire begins to tilt as I face difficulties in life into, putting my all in the direction of where. So now when God begins to speak to me in my undergraduate, that I'm going to be a counselor, I'm going to be this, I am going to be that, and a whole lot of things, I don't have to struggle with Him any longer, because I know where I'm coming from. I know, I have spoken to a few of my friends who are living in this environment, and I have able to help them, giving them understanding about relationship and marriage, because seriously, we can't do relationship the way they do it in some environments like that. So we have to be different, even though we are living in that environment. So thank God, I am so happy that the desire does not, I didn't nurse that desire into a full-blown man. You know what it means to be a womanizer these days. You have to date so many people, break so many girls' hearts, be the reason why you give some people pain in their heart, and a whole lot of things. Not being faithful with the wife of your youth, and a whole lot of things like that, that are around our world today. So please, if you enjoyed this video, let me know that let me know your thoughts in your comment section. Thank you very much. God bless you. Seriously, I'm gonna see you later. I'm gonna do another video. Be ready to watch me. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. God bless.